My partner, Scott Elliott. Scott, privileged to be at Havre de Grace, this brand new field here at Havre de Grace High School, but 2 months old. It really looks good.
It does. I'm anxious to see some baseball on it for the first time.
Harford Tech versus Havre de Grace. Harford Tech coming in at 3-1. Havre de Grace at 2-2. We'll set the lineup for you in just a moment. First pitch up high. That's Braden Cruz. Braden Cruz, who's pitching the first time this year on the mound for the Havre de Grace Warriors. Set that defensive alignment. He's pitching to his brother, Keegan Cruz, and that ball was popped back over our head. We're at 1-1. C.J. Scandalous, the batter for Harford Tech. C.J. got his first start on Friday when the Harford Tech Cobras beat Bel Air 9-8. A great game that we'll talk about in just a moment as we have time. Foul back our way. 1-2 the count. Infield, Ryan Hops at third base. Taylor Blevins at shortstop. Damon Pressberry Jr. at second. And Frank Ciano, the pitcher that we saw just Friday pitch such a great game, is at first base. Connor Howes, Connor Ignazi, and Josh Rathburn around the outfield. Curveball outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Good out there, kid. Look good out there. Make your pitch.
Change up, little pop up past the shortstop into center field, and the center fielder coming on Ignazi to make that play. 1 up, 1 out.
Well, Ignazi got a good jump on that ball and ran it down. And Havre de Grace, we just saw them the other night, and we were impressed. They really were a gritty little team and came out, and it was a pitcher's duel, and they ended up getting a run to win the game. So, it's anxious to see how these two teams do today.
Connor Henderson, the batter now, and Scott, as you noticed, I just took my big jacket off. So the weather here about 62, 63, no wind. Line drive into right center field, falling fast. That's going to be a base hit. Past Ignazi, that'll be at least 2. Henderson turns first, goes to second base, and he'll hold up there with a double into right center field gap.
Now Harford Tech's coming out and swinging the bats. That was a good job by Henderson watching the first at bat. He got something he could handle, and he jumped all over it.
You look at those batting averages, 455 for Henderson, 5 for 11, 4 runs scored, a double and a triple. You'll see a lot of gaudy averages for Harford Tech. They're a hitting ball club. Austin Utterbaugh, now the DH, batting third. Austin, a 545 hitter, runner on at second base, 1 out. Down low, ball 1. Scott, we saw a pitcher's duel on Friday. I have a feeling, given the record of the pitchers, if they go according to their record, we could see a bit of hitting this game. Swung on a miss, 1-1.
Yeah, and that's being established early. Harford Tech's coming out swinging the bat. So even when we had the first batter, Scandalous, who led off, I think fouled a couple straight back. He was right on the pitch.
Yep. Sun goes behind the clouds. A little change up there. Foul tip off the catcher. Should set the count at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Utterbaugh out of Edgewood, that's where his home is. He's in the nursing program at Harford Tech.
Good size swing up there.
Ground ball back to the pitcher. So we're going to be out at first base. You think about the runner from second broke to third. Had he realized, we're talking about Cruz, he may have had that runner out at third base.
Yeah, he may have. And now he's in a situation where he's got 2 outs, man at third, so really he's not hurt. The runner just moved up 1. Still in scoring position. He's got to get the last out to get out of the inning.
Well, the only trouble is, of course, this backstop is about 50 feet behind home plate. Unlike the backstops at most of the fields we see, a wild pitch or a pass ball, that's going to be a run. Yeah, cleanup hitter, Parker Smith, the catcher at bat. Curveball hangs up high. Ball 1. We saw that only run scored the other day on the wild pitch where Hops got the great jump from third base. On that, as it turned out, it was going to be a safety squeeze on the outside corner, 1-1.
Yep, and Hops was leaning forward and did a good job as the speed-up runner came in and made an impact and got there. And it looks like he's got the start at third base.
He does.
Today, right?
364 is the batter, Parker Smith.
That's the pitch to rip on here.
Little squiver over to the second base. Got to come in and make the play. Picks it up and throws him out at first base. Good play by Damon Pressberry Jr. over Frank Ciano, and no harm done. 1 hit, no runs, 1 hit, no errors. 1 runner left on base. We played the first half of the first inning. 0-0.
Oh, Harford Tech came out swinging, but good answer there to field their way out of the inning. And the last pitch there was a little jam shot. He seemed to work inside on him and got it off his fist, and the second baseman made a nice play. It's always an in-between play there. A lot of the second baseman will shuffle that ball instead of throwing it because you're so close to the first baseman by the time that ended up. And I would imagine this field, we haven't really had time to inspect it thoroughly, but it looks like it just went down. You mentioned that it's not that old at all. The grass just was put in, and you can see it's got some ruts in it, a little tricky in the infield, I'd imagine.
We talked to the coach's son, Taylor Blevins, who's playing shortstop today, and Taylor said, yeah, the issue with the field is the grass is very slow. So anything hit on the ground, you're going to have to be charging to be able to get that out at first base.
Well, I think that's kind of a good thing to think of all the time from a standpoint of high school baseball, is that the fields are slow, so the infielders have to play in.
Harford Tech, we mentioned 3-1 coming in. They defeated Elkton in their first game of the year 7-5. Also beat Edgewood 12-2, and then they lost to Falston by 10-1. And then this past Friday, they came back from behind, won the game 9-8 over Bel Air, trailing going into the top of the 7th. They were able to score 3 runs, and then Ben Byers pitched 4 innings of shutout ball, in fact, no-hit ball, and he was able to pick up the win to go 3-1. Havre Grace 2-2. They got that big win we talked about on Friday, this past Friday, against their arch rivals, the Aberdeen Eagles, taking home the fight for the fungo, so it returns to its rightful place. If you're Havre Grace, they'll have it for at least a year.
That's true. That's true. They need to display that in the trophy case, so every time Aberdeen's other teams come here, they see that it's being displayed here in Havre Grace.
Folks, remember that story we talked about on Friday? It's an old fungo bat that Cal Ripken Sr. used during the clinics that they held at Mount St. Mary's College out there in Emmitsburg. And the head coach for Havre Grace attended those quite a bit, and with his other people, Chad Blevins we're talking about, ended up somehow, and we're not really sure how he ended up with it, but he got the old fungo bat. He's kept it, sort of updated it, put it back together with rivets, and now every year between Havre Grace and Aberdeen, they have the fight for the fungo. The one who wins that game gets to take that home with them.
It's a terrific story, and tribute to Coach Blevins and his staff for putting that together and thinking. I think when we talked to him a little bit, we found out that he and several of the people on his staff had attended the Oriole camps that Cal Ripken Sr. had put on out in Westminster. And so it's at Mount St. Mary's College.
Up in Emmitsburg,
so,
yeah.
So it's Emmitsburg.
Yeah.
Right. So it sounds like they had a good time and learned a lot from that.
They sure did. And all those coaches are either 97 or 98 graduates from Havre Grace. We're talking about all of the Havre Grace coaches. Well, here comes now the Harford Tech, I should say the Havre Grace Warriors. They'll lead off with their leadoff hitter, Connor Ignazi. Connor, a .273 batter, picks on the first pitch and pops it up to first base. Moving on it is Josh Canner, and Josh makes the catch, the sophomore. 1 up, 1 down, first pitch, pop up to the first baseman.
That was quick.
It was. Now, leadoff hitters in the old days, back in when we were playing ball, usually take a pitch or two, see what the pitcher's got. No, now you're just hacking from the word go. Taylor Blevins, the number 2 hitter, batting .167, 2 for 12 on the year. So we mentioned the coach's son, the freshman, just a bit outside. Wyatt Dudek, the pitcher, a junior. He is 0-1 on the year. He's had 2 starts, pitched 4 2/3 innings, given up 5 hits and 9 earned runs. His problem has been control. 8 walks on the season in those 4 2/3 innings. Foul back.
He's got good size on him. He's got some good movement on the ball, but you're right. If you can't locate it, none of that matters, right?
And these are your second, third, maybe even your 4th pitcher pitching on this Monday after they played their key games on Friday. Foul back and out of play. And Scott, you mentioned the pitch count that we saw happen to Havre Grace back there on Friday. You reach a certain amount and you can't pitch anymore in that game, nor can you pitch anymore in that 7-day period.
Right. It's a good rule overall for the arms, and the coaches have to use a little strategy to figure out how they're going to play their week and use their whole pitching staff.
Son to father, fielded nicely by number 44, Chad Blevins. We were talking about famous number 44s today. You think of Hank Aaron as a famous 44. Reggie Jackson, who wore 44 after he couldn't get 9 inside. And Jerry West, of course, the great guard from West Virginia and the Lakers. Anyhow, 44 is sort of that number that's iconic because of people like Jerry West and Hank Aaron.
Mr. NBA, right?
Yes.
He's the logo, right?
He is that. Blevins pops it up again. We haven't mentioned, but lots of foul territory here, not only behind home plate, but all the way down the right and left field foul lines. Got a nice warning track here. This is what you call, Scott, a professional type field.
Yeah, it is. It's really nice. They have room here to do a lot. I would imagine some pitching cages. Pitching bullpens, some batting cages. Looks like they have some room.
They do. On the outside corner for the third strike, as Blevins takes a pitch perfectly thrown on the outside corner. 2 up and 2 down. Brings up Frank Ciano, the first baseman. Frank Ciano, who pitched the game that we saw on Friday against the Aberdeen Eagles. Set at infield, Joey Canner, Connor Henderson, Melvin Bagmashaw, and Josh Canner from third base to first. This one on a missed. I promised Bagumsa. I promised Melvin not to pronounce his name correctly. It's spelled B-H-E-A-M-A-S-H, but it's pronounced Bagumsa.
Okay.
Yeah, so he tells me.
Well, that's important. You're doing your homework ahead of time to make sure you give everybody their fair share of air.
Well, you want to make sure the names are pronounced correctly. Come on.
Absolutely. You and I don't have to worry about tough last names. I have a first name for a last name. So.
That's true, you do. That's true. You have 2 last names.
Yeah.
And 2 first names.
Right.
Elliot could be a first name. Scott could be a last name.
Gets mixed up all the time.
Up high and inside.
He laid off that. It was good to see. I'm surprised they've been hacking at some pitches that just maybe they're not waiting it out, little first inning kind of jitters here. But
the Warriors have low batting averages up and down that lineup. They're anxious to break out. There's a little pop up into right center field. Moving on at center fielder Dominic Ward. Ward out there about 280 feet. He's going to make the catch for the third out of the inning. 3 up and 3 down.
Well, Ciano got a good piece of that. Gave it a ride. Looked like he knew all along it wasn't going to get out of there, but he drove it to right center. So we have 3 up, 3 down at the end of the first for Havre.
Yeah, we saw Ciano hit that triple against Aberdeen, that line shot into left center field, so we know he has the ability to be able to make good contact.
Yeah, he had a lot of pop, and he pitched a fabulous game. So we told him after the game, we really appreciate a good pitcher's duel. So that was fun to watch.
It was great fun to watch, and had a chance to talk to their grandpop, the Cruz's grandpop, I should say, and they, grandpop and grandmom, they watched it at home, live streamed. They couldn't get to the game, but Scott, if you look over to your left, in the pink and with the doggy now, petting the doggy, grandpop and grandmom, the 2 Grooves brothers. Hey, we want to tell you this high school game of the week proudly sponsored by APGFCU. It's a member-owned, member-driven credit union helping families in Harford County achieve, prosper, and grow. We're looking around. Yeah, we've got a nice little crowd building here on the left-hand side. Scott, you mentioned a brand new school just opened this year, and of course, the folks will remember opening during the pandemic. They all set to open in September, except the kids couldn't come.
Right.
So now they're happy to be here. It's just a beautiful, beautiful complex here in Havre de Grace.
Oh, it all ties in. You can see in the distance we have the football field, the Harris Stadium, which is a terrific focal point, not only of the high school campus here, but also of the town in general. And they, really, now that I'm living out here, I can tell you they do everything from classes in the morning. They have workouts on that field all the way through the evening, and you'll see people jogging. So it's a great community here, and this ball field just fits right in.
It really does. Havre de Grace being, of course, a community, it's a very exciting place to be. Here's Joey Canner. Joey, a sophomore out of Aberdeen. The little ground ball up the third baseline. Moving on, it is Ryan Hobbs. Throw to first base, dug out by Ciano. Nice play by Hobbs. Nice scoop by Ciano. Out 5-3. Joey Cantor, a 400 batter coming in with 2 RBIs. He'll turn it over now to his twin brother, Josh Cantor, sophomore, also out of Aberdeen. They're both in the CAM program, computer-aided design of some kind. So I'm told.
Beyond us, Don.
There are about 21 programs at Harford Tech, and it's just a wonderful school. Probably, they talk about the best kept secret, but there is no secret about Harford Tech. You know, what about half of the kids who apply are able to get in the programs that are offered?
Yeah, it's different than when we were younger, when it just had a smaller curriculum, and they've expanded it. You're right, it's very popular.
Braden Cruz, the pitcher, a young man who has no record this year. First time he's been on the mound. Up high. 1 out, nobody on. We're in the top of the second inning. Neither team has scored.
That's one thing we can do is talk a little bit about what some of the Harford Votech players and athletes are studying, because I know you did a little bit of that homework too.
Down low, ball 4. And you mentioned Votech. They get a little antsy when you say vocational technical.
Tech, right,
it goes back to our day when it was Harford Votech.
Right.
No longer. So base runner now. That's Josh Candle on at first base on the walk. Bring up Melvin Bagumsa. Melvin, got your name correct that time. Melvin, the second baseman, a .500 batter. He's 4 for 8 on the year. 2 RBIs and a double. Swinging right away.
Ground ball foul. That's a good fastball. It's a good one to rip on. He was sitting on it.
And cameraman down the third baseline there, appreciating the net that Chad Blevins brought out for us. Gives us a wave and says, thank you. Appreciate the umpires allowing us to put our cameras in the field of play. Oh, outside corner. Looked like a changeup. He took a bit off that pitch. 2 strikes. Melvin Bagumsa, senior. Melvin in the nursing program out of Aberdeen. Line shot. There's Hobbs. 1 hop. Picks it up and throws it away at second base. And the runners will move up to second and third on the error. Ball coming through and now fielded. Hobbs made a nice pickup of the ball, but instead of leading the runner at second base, leading the baseman at second base, threw it behind him and the ball went into right field.
Yeah, it looked a little behind him. And you know, you look at Harford Votech's being aggressive. They're swinging the bats early and often, and Havre Grace needs to counter that by backing everything up, hustling all over the field, because Harford Tech's trying to make things happen.
Dominic Ward at the bat, swung on and missed. Infielders in at first and third. Infielders back at second and short, looking like they'll let the run score here in the top of the second inning.
Yeah, it's a good field to play in on.
Ground ball, shortstop, moving on it, throw to first base, run scores. The out is recorded at first as Taylor Blevins allows that run to score, gets the out, runner moves up to third base. So the first run of the ball game comes in on the ground out, RBI by Dominic Ward.
And that took a while to get to Tyler also.
It did. And of course that decision to let the run score.
Taylor. Yeah, and we had just talked about that. I was kind of watching how they moved, and Taylor was stalking it like he was going to throw it out to first all the time.
Brady Reese now the number 9 hitter. Runner on at third base, that's Bagumsa. 2 down. Warriors looking to try to minimize the damage if they can. Fly ball left field moving down that line. It could be
get in there.
It's a fair ball down the line. That's going to score the run. As Reese gets the double with 2 outs to knock in a run. Boy, that was fair by inches.
Yeah, and he drove it right down the line. That was a really nice piece of hitting.
So scoring from third base is Bagumsa. So it's 2-0 now. With 2 out, we'll move back to the top of the order as C.J. Scandalous, who flew out to center field back in the first inning. So the Cobras have broken on top 2-0 as the sun has disappeared here. Ground ball cut off by, nope, goes through. Taylor the throw to first base and a nice play. Taylor Blevins thought that shortstop, that third baseman Hobbs was going to cut it off, but he didn't. And then a nice strong throw by the freshman. Keep reminding folks that Taylor Blevins is just a freshman. Having an arm like that when you're in the 9th grade, I mean, I didn't have an arm that way. Well, okay, I don't still have an arm like that. But as a freshman in high school, I'm not sure I could have made that play.
Well, he played it perfectly. He knew Hobbs was going to try to cut it off if he could, but when it got through, he was right on it. Wasn't surprised at all and made a good, strong throw to first. It's tough to throw somebody out from the hole. I mean, he wasn't deep in the hole, but he was in the hole, and it's tough to do that on this field with the grass. It will slow everything down.
So 2 runs on just 1 hit, 1 error, and 1 runner left on base. We have now played an inning and a half. Harford Tech Cobras leading by 2-0. Neither of those runs being earned. The error by Hops, who threw the ball away, looked like it could have been a double play ball. Again, it's one of those things when you're a young fielder, you haven't had a whole lot of experience there. You've got to throw the ball at the bag and not at the person covering, because that second baseman's still moving toward the bag.
Right. And, you know, Harford Tech's aggressive. They're going to be swinging, so everybody needs to be ready and moving on the play. And I think we've seen the game established as Harford Tech's coming out swinging. Havre Grace might want to try the strategy of waiting out. You know, they're in a situation where, especially if the pitcher has a history of not throwing some strikes, you've got to try to anything you can to answer now. You don't want to get too far behind too early.
Yeah, 8 walks in 4 2/3 innings. We're talking about Wyatt Dudek, a junior. He looked good in that first inning, though, throwing strikes and going 3 up and 3 down against Havre Grace.
Right. So now you just, in order to win the inning, Havre Grace needs to respond, you know, somehow. Either take a few pitches, get a couple runners on. You know, again, I go back to the bunting that we didn't see the other night, but on slow fields with grass, lay it down.
And Joey Cantor way back there at third base. Batter is the cleanup hitter, Connor Howes. Connor Howes, a senior, takes a strike. Nice high fastball.
Yeah,
Thrown in there by Dudek.
Right, Dudek's getting right on top. Smart.
Yeah, the idea is your team has scored 2 runs. Now you want to get back in the dugout as quickly as you can.
Right.
Infield straight up all the way around. Their curveball, 0-2. And that is some good pitching. Start off with that high fastball, let him see it up in the eyes, and then drop the curveball down below the knees. Howell's coming in as a 182 hitter, a double, 1 run score, 2 for 11 on the season. Swung on and missed on that inside fastball.
Tied
3
him up
pitches,
inside.
3 out.
Nice pitch.
It was a very nice pitch. Yeah, that sun has disappeared, and now the clouds. We have a completely cloud-covered field. Still not a terrible day, maybe in the 50s somewhere. No wind.
Yeah, it is very still.
Keegan Cruz now, the catcher, junior. Keegan, a 300 batter. He's 3 for 10 on the year. Has an RBI, 1 walk on the year. Fly ball into center field, moving is Ward.
And it fooled you on that aluminum bat.
Second baseman got it.
Shortstop.
Oh, it's the shortstop who came over. Good call. Well, the shortstop must have come a long distance to be able to get that ball.
Right. Connor Henderson for Harford Tech. Again, it was hit a little, it sounds, you know, a little different off the aluminum. It looked like it was off the end a little. Just
2
a
outs.
flare.
Nobody on. That'll bring up Brandon Cruz. Brandon Cruz, the pitcher. Up high.
Cruz brothers here hitting back-to-back today.
Yeah. So we have 2 brothers for Havre Grace and 2 brothers for Harford Tech. Speaking of brothers, we were talking to Taylor Blevins. He has a younger brother who's also a baseball player. So he'll be a junior when his brother is a freshman. And so, you know, in a couple of years, you'll see the Blevins brothers playing for their dad. I asked him how it was to play for his dad. And he said, hey, I've always played for my dad. I don't know any different. And his dad, of course, one of the nice people that you ever see. The ball inside, getting out of the way, was Brandon Cruz. I don't know if that was a purpose pitch or not, but it sort of drove him off the plate.
It might be effective either way.
Brandon, a 111 hitter, 2 walks, 1 for 9 on the year. On that inside corner.
Well, he's throwing strikes. If he had some control problems before, he's figured some things out. He looks very confident.
He does. Nice big guy, probably 6'3" or so.
Yeah.
Comes right over the top.
Very deliberate windup, takes his time. A lot of times the little taller pitchers have a lot that can go wrong. They have a lot of body to control on the way to the plate. So simplifying things and being deliberate is to their advantage.
You'll notice today in the major leagues, you'll see very little winds up. It used to be double pumps and so forth. Line drive into center field.
Driving back, that carried really well.
It did. Moved over Dominic Ward's head. Boy, that's the toughest play for any outfielder. The ball hit directly on him, Scott.
Yeah, it was hit so hard it froze the center fielder a little bit right away, and Cruz was able to take advantage of that. You know, 2-out double is very important here for Havre Grace to try to get something on the board.
Bring up DH Logan Forsythe, the senior. Logan batting 200, 1 for 5 on the year. Speed up rule. The pitcher goes out.
Braden's trying to help his own cause here. Get Havre Grace on the scoreboard. And when we did the game Friday night, we noticed that the speed-up runners and courtesy runners for Havre Grace were threats. They were using their speed to create some havoc in a pitcher's duel. So now they're behind, and they could use a base hit here to score the run. So we'll see. Good lead at second base.
Pressbury trying to hold him on. Now he backs off. Outside. Ball 1. Looking up on my roster here to find number 23. That's Brady Walker, who's in as the courtesy runner. You call them speed-up runners? Is that what they're calling them now?
I don't know the technical term.
Little fly ball to right field. C.J. Scandalous, and he's going to be able to make the catch without any trouble, and so that double goes for naught. As in the bottom of the second inning, Havre Grace remains scoreless, 2-0, Harford Tech leading.
C.J. Scandalous did a good job drop stepping on that, sizing it up and settling under it. So a little bit of a threat for Havre Grace, but Harford Tech shuts it down right away.
And again, you have to be really impressed with the way that that Dudek has been pitching so far. And again, we talked about the fact that he had some control problems. That doesn't seem to be an issue right now.
Correct. Yeah, and he's pitching ahead, and he looks very confident.
His high school game of the week, proudly sponsored by APGFCU, member-owned, member-driven credit union, helping families in Harford County achieve, prosper, and grow. So we go now to the top of the third inning.
Well, Havre Grace is going to have to go through the heart of the lineup again. So down 2-0. This is an important inning for them to stay in this game and seize a little bit of control back from Harford Tech.
Yep, the numbers 2, 3, and 4 hitters coming up. Henderson, Utterball, and Smith was the bottom of the order that got it done last inning for Harford Tech as they scored those 2 runs. The error helping out, but the big double by Brady Reese knocking in that second run. So it'll be Henderson, Utterball, and Smith going up against Braden Cruz.
Henderson took a ball into the right center gap right away. So he was sitting dead red fastball, and maybe they're going to throw him something different on the first pitch, or are you going to challenge him again?
I think I would try something a little different. I didn't like the outcome the last time. That was his second double of the year. We're talking about Henderson, 455 coming in. Big hole right up the middle, sort of spread out in the infield.
Yeah, it went different, not surprising.
Curveball.
Get me over curve for strike 1.
Notice Ignazi, the center fielder, way around to right field, taking away that right center field gap. It's right where he hit it last time. High inside fastball, but he goes for it. 0-2 the count. Good job of mixing up the pitches on the part of Braden Cruz.
All right, Braden wants to get ahead early. I mean, he's not messing around. I don't think you can mess around with the middle of this Harford Tech lineup. They swing the bats.
Curveball.
Nice pitch.
Nice take.
Right on the corner, but didn't get the call, and that's fine on an 0-2 pitch.
Boy, if I'm Henderson, do you take that because you know it's a ball, or you're just so locked up you can't swing?
I think he probably knew they weren't going to throw a fastball down the middle, so he might have, if he can drive that to right field. There's his fastball. He
Line shot foul.
Want that curveball on the next pitch?
Yeah, I'm thinking something different than that. He likes that pitch.
So he's put a swing on 3 fastballs. One he fouled back because it was high, but the other 2 he hit hard. So
Connor Henderson out of the C. Milton Wright District. He's wants to go to McDaniel College to study kinesiology. I couldn't spell that, much less know what it is. Down low and outside.
Looked like he knuckled down.
I did,
change
yeah,
up.
some kind of a change up.
Looked like a weird grip as it was coming out of his hand, but he had a pitch to waste there if he wanted to try something.
Yeah.
You don't want to give in. You don't want to walk, but I think his curveball looked like a good pitch. You might want to go back to that. Change up?
Yeah, it looked like a changeup, took a lot off of it.
He took a lot off his fastball, and he got it.
He got the
down and in.
strikeout.
Had some sinking action on it. Down and in. That was a good pitch.
That's his first strikeout of the game. 1 strikeout, 1 walk. As Henderson goes down, bringing up Austin Utterball. Austin went out from the pitcher to the first baseman back in the first inning. A nursing student is Austin Utterball.
He's the Edgewood guy, right?
Yeah, he is. 5:45 coming in.
Figures, right? These Edgewood guys always
Edgewood
hit
guys.
for high
Yeah.
average.
Now, it could be, Scott, you went to what school? Edgewood.
Same one you did.
And I did Edgewood, yeah. So if there's a little bit of a bias going there, we're proud of our school, and so we like our Edgewood kids doing well.
Yeah.
Little pop up into left field.
That
That's
might
falling
get down,
fast.
though. Nice job. He got
Good job by Connor Howes coming in and making that catch. Boy, he got a nice jump on the ball.
Yeah, it didn't look like Austin was real happy with that swing, but he didn't attack it. He just kind of flared it out there. But those can be trouble, too. That was kind of dying quickly, but Havre Grace was able to run it down. Connor Howes.
Surely did. Parker Smith now. Parker the catcher. Parker's in sports medicine program at Harford Tech.
That's the big difference, too. You know, that you just mentioned that Austin Utterbaugh was a nursing student. Parker's in a similar medical track. I mean, I just hear one student after the other going through those programs and getting jobs and placements to college.
Parker headed for CCBC Dundalk. Well, he got a wood on that, or aluminum on it. It's going to be foul down the left field line. A lot of foul territory here. So unlike the other fields around the county where you've got maybe 10 feet or 15 feet, you know, there's a lot of room down both sides of those foul lines.
Yeah, I always loved him as a shortstop second baseman, and I hated him as a hitter.
I remember going back to the old days when Bel Air had the backstop that was way back away from the catcher. So you had to tell your catcher, there's a little ground ball to shortstop. Blevins moving.
Blevins, nice pickup.
So
nice
to first
spin.
base. Oh, he throws it
nice
high.
Play.
That's that tough play. I'm going to have to give him a hit on that one. Turning the body completely around. I think Cal Ripken Jr. may have revolutionized shortstop play because he could do that so well, Scott.
Sure, they all could. Ozzie Smith, that's why they're playing shortstop, and he did a really good job getting to it, making the play.
You think of most shortstops up till Cal would catch the ball and then sort of pivot their body so they would face first base. Cal would turn completely 180 degrees and then be able to throw the ball with a lot on it.
Yeah.
That's what Taylor Blevins did there.
Like a windup. Well, he was 6'4", 6'5", right?
He was,
He couldn't just jump up and like a gymnast like Ozzie Smith. He had to design his own way and do it well.
Joey Cantor, the batter, he grounded out back in the second inning. Checking on him at first base is Braden Cruz. Right over to Frank Ciano. 2 out, runner on at first base. Ground ball third base, hops, goes back. Now, what are they saying? Are they saying it's a balk? Not sure exactly what he did, but whatever he did wasn't kosher, and so getting second base on the balk is Parker Smith. So runner now in scoring position with 2 out. The pitch did not count. Outside. It was a nice play by Hops on that tough hop there, hitting. He was able to go back and make the play. So that cost him because that could have been the third out of the inning. Down low and outside. Looks like that Braden Cruz has lost a little bit of the groove here in terms of getting the ball over the plate.
He could be a little rattled by the balk. He's going to take a deep breath, relax, and get back in the groove.
Joey Cantor up high. Joey's in the CAM program out of Aberdeen, sophomore. 2 for 5 on the year coming in. 2 RBIs. Runner in scoring position. Takes the strike. Looked like he was taken all the way.
All the way. He's got the Jackie Robinson #2. We talked about that the other night.
He does.
So we got the catcher and the batter both wearing the
Talked about iconic numbers,
important
huh?
number. That's exactly right.
Up high. Ball 4, 2 on.
Austin, he wasn't close there. He's going to need to settle down. He's got 2 outs. He can get out of this. Just has to really attack here.
As your old coach, Steve Williams, would say, he's got to bow his neck.
Yeah, he did. He always made a point. I've heard that enough.
I tried bowing my neck the other night. It didn't work. I didn't know exactly what it was. This will bring up brother now, Josh Cantor. Josh, who got on the walk and scored the first run of the game for the Tech Cobras.
I had to look that one up when I was younger. What does he want me to do?
What was your favorite number, Scott? What number did you like and try to get?
I like 2. I wore that in high school.
There's a fly ball left field hit
pretty
well. Moving back on it is Connor Howes.
He's got it.
Howes makes the catch about 300 feet away. Well, maybe 290 since the left field fence is 300.
Backing up to the wall. And they got out of it.
Good
But,
word.
you know, Harford Tech does swing the bats. I've been impressed so far. You told me that they came out and beat Bel Air the other night, so they know they can swing that bat.
And came from behind. They were down by 2 runs going into the top of the 7th and scored 3 to win it. No runs, a hit, no errors, 2 runners left on base. We've now played 2.5. The Cobras up by 2-0. Another good ball game, Scott. A little different than the game we saw the other night, which was a pitcher's duel with a total of, 4 hits in the entire game?
Right, and we're seeing the bats are out tonight, and that's good. I mean, we just got through the Harford Tech lineup with the Canner brothers there, and they both were swinging it. That last ball was, it's hard for us to tell from here, but it looked like he was pretty close to the wall by the time he settled under it.
Yeah.
But he did a good job tracking that.
He did. Connor Howes we're talking about. He went back right away. Made it look rather routine, but it wasn't. That ball was hit over his head. Had he taken a step in, that ball would have been over his head.
Right, right. And that can happen early in the season. A lot of unless the weather really lets you get outside and take some fungos, it's hard for the outfielders to keep up with the infielders because it's, early in the season. They haven't seen a lot of balls on the trajectory off the bat yet.
Well, it's a good point. This is a beautiful field, and as the years go on and it becomes more mature, it's going to be even more beautiful.
Yeah.
Did a nice job. The brand new Havre Grace Middle High School just opened this year.
It's a nice complex, and now I remember there being a ball field here, a Major League diamond. I think I used it for practice a few times, but this is a real ballpark that they've put in, and it's great. It's right on campus and enhanced everything around it.
Josh Rathburn now leading off the number 8 hitter, the right fielder. As you see, a lefty. Josh batting at 200 on the year, 1 for 5 early in the season. Warriors at 2-2. They lost their first 2 games of the year and came back and won 2 last week. So they've evened their record at 2-2. Little pop up on the first pitch. Behind third baseman, shortstop moving. It's going to be the third baseman who makes the play. That's Joey Canner. Normally you'd see that shortstop call him off, but Canner said, I got it. Just get out of my way.
He did kind of call it the whole way.
He did.
So that's it. A lot of times you'll see the shortstops call them off, but those two communicated well. You let them figure it out, right? As long as they make the catch.
First down on the first pitch, and that'll bring up the number 9 hitter, Ryan Hops. Ryan, a senior. We saw Ryan in the last game we did. There's a shot in the center field.
The ball's driven well.
Dominic Ward back, and Dominic Ward makes the catch. Boy, what a nice play. Ward got on his horse right away, went back and one-handed it, made that look easy. That ball was hit about 360 feet, since the wall is about 365 out there.
I tell you, we've seen some pop out of the 9 spots on both these teams, so they're swinging it today. They are swinging it.
And hitting early in the count.
Right, jumping on fastballs.
Leadoff hitter, Connor Ignazi, who popped up, I think, on the first pitch also back in the first inning.
Here we go.
Doing what you said, Scott. If you can't get on right away, let's try to get on, bunt the ball.
Well, you got to get something started. You're approaching the middle innings, and everybody's talked about it being a new field with new sod. I mean, get it down. Let's see what happens. He's also the leadoff batter. That's his job, and if he can get on with 1 or 2 out, it makes a difference. Right now he's got 2 outs, and he's got a good pitcher ahead of him, so not a bad idea.
There's a ground ball to shortstop. Moving it is Henderson. Slow hit. Throw to first base. He's going to be saved.
Yeah, see,
Beats it
that's
out.
what we're talking about. That grass, there's no way you can make that play. If you have to come in, I think, with a strike or 2 on a batter, especially a leadoff batter. You have to start out playing closer, and you have to charge it quickly. Your first couple steps are the most important steps, and just playing it normal is not going to work here today.
You noticed Ignazi, as he crossed the base, he helped the umpire out by saying, save.
See, I never thought of doing that. That's a good idea.
Yeah. Probably better to run through the bag.
Too. He's got. It looks like he just wants to run.
Down by a run.
There
it goes. Line drive to shortstop on 1 hop.
And make him throw.
Now the throw to first base. Nice job by Henderson. Henderson took his time, realized he didn't have a play at second base. Ball was hard hit by Taylor Blevins, but hit right to the shortstop. 6-3, and so now we've played 3 full innings of play. No runs, a hit, no errors. 1 run left. 3 full innings of play with the score 2-0. The Harford Tech Cobras. This high school game of the week proudly sponsored by the APG-FCU, a member-owned, member-driven credit union helping families in Harford County achieve, prosper, and grow. And Scott, I'm happy to say the sun has come back out. My decision to take that coat off, a wise one. I was thinking about putting it back on.
It's always sunny on a baseball field, Don.
I like it.
I've had good times in rain on a baseball field.
You know, you're right. It's like a golf course. There's never a bad day on a golf course. A bad day on a golf course is about 1,000 times better than a good day at work. That's my theory.
That's right. Well, you know, I was lucky. A lot of the coaching I did, especially at the end, was all on turf. So you hardly ever got a rain out, honestly. I mean, thunder and lightning was an issue.
Yeah.
But the average rain, especially down south, you just keep playing.
Speaking of number 44, notice how I bring that back. There was a center fielder, and you're speaking of thunderstorms, for the Baltimore Orioles named Willie Tasby back in the 50s, long before you were born.
Okay, well, people are flipping to check this right now at home.
There was a thunderstorm occurring at Memorial Stadium. Willie Tasby was deathly afraid of lightning. Now, he's wearing metal spikes. So what's he do? He takes his shoes off in the middle of the inning, puts them against the center field wall, and plays the rest of the inning in his stocking feet.
Okay.
He says, okay, if you're not going to call the game because of lightning, I am not going to get struck by this stuff. I'm putting my shoes off. Yeah, number 44 for the Orioles back in 1957, 58 period of time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's, you know, I know we always challenge you on your trivia knowledge because you come up with things like that no one knows, and they all have to look them up. So we never really know whether you're just making up names.
It is so old, you know, that only old people would even think about that, and most of them have forgotten it.
Well, this is your guy hitting. Melvin's up again.
Yeah, Melvin Bagumsa. Oh, up high and inside. Melvin was leaning in. That ball was bearing in on him.
Yeah, those are tough when you're looking inside or something to that effect, and you're rolling into it, but he got out of the way.
Big play of the inning where the Cobras scored their 2 runs. He reached on that error. Ground ball at the plate.
I like his swing. He's got a nice little swing. He's aggressive.
He's batting .500, 4 for 8, 2 RBIs and a double on the season. Melvin is senior, the second baseman here on the squad. Melvin's out of Aberdeen. He's also in the nursing program, headed for Harford Community College next year.
Is he playing baseball for him?
Probably.
He laid off a pitch right there. That's a tough one. He's got a good eye. I mean, that's a tough pitch to lay off of, and he did. I don't blame him. Look for something better to hit.
Well, the sun has come out now. It could present a problem for the outfielders. Back our way. Stands move around as the ball goes back there. Notice I didn't flinch that time. The ball was directly at us, Scott.
Right. Yeah, you've had an issue with that in the past.
I've lost my reflexes. That's all it is. Swung on and missed. No tip foul.
Foul tip. He hung in there tough. This is a great at bat, and it's also a good pitcher's duel.
Yeah.
I mean, you give credit to Braden, right? Which one are we? Taylor?
It's Braden Cruz, yeah.
Braden's pitching, right?
Yeah.
And they're battling.
And Keegan, his brother, is the catcher. Oh, line drive right up through the middle. I don't know how that didn't hit Braden Cruz, but he got out of the way. Ball fumbled by the center fielder, but Ignacy goes back and picks it up. That ball was hit right on the nose.
Well, that was. I mean, they went back, and I saw good pitches and good hitting in just that series. And back in our day, they wanted that stern follow-through, but Braden, like a lot of pitchers, over-rotated and got out. That ball hit right back up the chute and in the center field.
Chad Blevins, the manager, comes out and is going to talk to his pitcher just to make sure he's okay. Well, he did a nice job, sort of I don't know, an olé, a pirouette, something. He got out of the way. I mean, if that's me, I'm clutching my knee and laying on the ground, rolling up because it's hit me. I don't know how he avoided that.
Well, it was in center field before he knew it. Good piece of hitting. And we'll see what Harford Tech can muster here.
Dominic Ward, the batter, coming up. Dominic, who got that RBI ground out back in the second inning. Dominic,
that's how they got on the board.
Yep, they got their first run, and then the RBI double by Brady Reeves following him. Dominic Ward, the number 8 batter in the lineup.
Yeah, Brady Reeves is the 9 hitter that drove the ball deep last time, and we were talking about Harford Tech swinging the bats all the way through their lineup. Now that we approach the middle innings, you're in a situation here. You get the leadoff man on. Are you bunting to try to get another run, a couple insurance runs?
At first, nobody out. Sort of a deliberate move to first, not the quick move.
Yeah,
Pressbury didn't have much of a lead.
Sometimes you throw over just to see if the batter runs his hands up the butt.
Said Pressbury. I meant to say Bagumsa. He's thinking I have an idea that Bagumsa may be on the move. Ciano with a little bit of a fake throw back to the pitcher and hoping that Begumsa would take a step off the bag. He didn't.
It never works.
Oh, it did in Little League. Ground ball foul.
They're swinging away, so.
Well, you're right. They're not waiting on anything.
No.
As I told my basketball coach, he said, "You're shooting too much." I said, "Coach, you cannot score unless you shoot."
You can't score runs unless you hit and produce runs, right?
Exactly.
So,
I mean, take a pitch, no. As they say, chicks dig the long ball, right?
well,
They don't like walks. If you walk, so what? Yes, as a coach, yeah, you get on first
you want
base.
the bunt. There's a bunt we're looking for.
Nope, they got him
Oh, boy,
tied.
he's got him, but no, he hesitated.
Hesitated on the throw. Good call, Scott. Back safely. Begumsa, maybe he was expecting the ball to be laid down. Bunting right through it was Ward.
I think he was. Now, that particular pitch is tailing off and dying, and it is a ball, no doubt about it. But it's also an easy pitch to bunt into the ground to first base side and move the runner over. But they let it go. So now let's see what they do. A little bit of a cat and mouse game here.
Yeah, Cruz is very concerned about Begumsa. Don't have any stats on his base running for Begumsa, but
Well, we know Brady Reese drove the ball last time, and then you got skinned up. Scandalous coming up after him. So not a bad idea. Get this guy to second. You're only up 2-0. Getting another run here in the middle of the game is important.
not a big lead for Begumsa at first base.
He's drawing attention. He's dirty.
There's the bunt. Right in front. Oh, that's a
gonna
great
be a
bunt.
hit.
Keegan Cruz goes to first base. He's safe at first base, so not only is it a sacrifice, but it's a base hit as well. Perfectly laid down that third base line.
It's hard not to be a good bunter on fields with slow grass. It really is. I mean, all you got to do is get it down.
So runners at first and second, nobody out. The number 9 hitter, Brady Reese, up. As we said, Brady's got that long double down the left field foul line that drove in a run back in the second.
For Harford Tech, do you go back to the well here?
And bunting, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe I would butt him up, but then again, the way Reese hit the ball first time up. He ground ball to shortstop. Should get the out at second, which he does, to throw to first base, and it's a wide throw, but nice job by Ciano.
Coming off there.
Yeah, that,
it's tough here to turn two because the grass is so thick, and you can see how everybody broke on that perfectly. But by the time Taylor Blevins really got it, in my head, I was thinking this is going to be close.
Yeah, I was saying hold on to the ball at second base. You probably don't have a chance to get him.
And it was only like a 2-hopper.
Yeah.
So that's just tough. It's a tough field to turn two.
First and third now. Begumsa moves up to third base on the play. So we have the number 1 hitter, Scandalous, CJ Scandalous, who is 0 for 2, flew out and grounded out. Hit into center field. It's going to be caught by the center fielder, Ignazi. Yeah. Begumsa made that fatal mistake of taking 2 steps forward. By the time he realized it was going to be caught, went back and tagged up. It was too late to score. Great job by Ignazi.
Yeah, and the way Ignazi kind of gunned that in, it might have been tough to score on that. So, we talked about Connor Henderson swinging the bat well last time, so now it's time to maybe take your chances with him. He hits one in the gap here, he may score 2, right? So you're not out of the inning.
Connor Henderson, 2 out. Runners at first and third.
They'll probably be running.
A bit of a,
He's not being held on at first at all.
yeah, that's a good call. They're giving him second base. They're trying to, now it looks like Ciano's going to move in and hold him. Yeah, first and third, 2 out. It's almost an automatic that you're going to run here. There he goes. He left too soon.
Boy.
Now let's see if they got him in a rundown.
Well, you see what they were trying to draw
Here
the
comes
ball.
their bump and the throw to plate, and he's going to be safe. Great play by Harford Tech.
Yeah.
Good job. Was it done purposely? I don't know, but Brady Reese
sure
got himself
was.
caught off.
Yeah.
And by the time they realized he was coming home, threw it, Begumsa was in safely. So a double steal done the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, it was on purpose. They, give them credit. They wanted to get the run in with 2 outs, and it's the kind of, if you're going to give them second, which it looked like by not holding the runner on the pitch before they were, you don't really want to go for the bait there and throw to second.
Yeah, Reese left so much early, and then Braden Cruz, that's a little pop up into right field. That could be falling, and it does fall for the base hit. That's going to score a run. Turning first and heading for second is Henderson, and he'll reach safely with the RBI double.
And it shows you how just a little execution on a double steal really kind of opens up your inning. But if that happens, and you know Braden has the chance to do that again, Braden Cruz, who's on the mound, maybe you step off, you fake, see if you can get the guy at third, just let the runner move up, and then take your chances at the plate because you do have first base open. But you know, hindsight's 20/20. They didn't execute, and now Harford Tech's got them on their heels a little with the middle of the lineup up.
Up 4-0. Austin Utterball, who's 0 for 2, grounded out to the pitcher and flew out to the left fielder. Coming in at 5:45, so you know it's a number 3 hitter in the order. He'd like to contribute. Duck on the pond at second base. Blevins faking him back. Line shot through the right side. Base hit. Fielded by, here's the throw to the plate. He's going to be way off line. And the score by the single as Rathburn throws the ball in. Coming around to score from second base is Henderson on the RBI single by Austin Utterball.
And I almost said something. I started to say something. I couldn't believe Frank had moved up on that play in front of the too even or in front of the base.
Yeah.
Because you're opening up with a big lefty stick up. You're opening up the whole right side. And if he plays back, he catches that ball.
Parker Smith, the batter. Parker is 1 for 2.
And Parker's going to be swinging into a rainbow, Don. Oh, geez.
I think that hit him,
Yeah, that's not what I expected with a rainbow out at center field. But
a rainbow. Yeah, look at that.
it's beautiful.
It's a beautiful rainbow. I don't know if the guys can get a shot of that rainbow or not. If you're seeing it here on your TV screen, but it's arcing all the way from left center field all the way to past the right field foul line.
You don't see that every day on the ball field, so we had some clouds moving around Havre Grace, but it did look very clear on the radar before the game. So we're just lucky to see a rainbow without the action of the rain.
I'm liking it. Joey Canner now, the batter. Joey walked last time. He grounded out in the second inning.
It's the Canner brothers segment of the program, and you know they both were swinging the bat well before. So now they got some ducks on the pond here.
Number 8 hitter up this inning.
Double scores a run, 2 runs.
Down low, ball 2.
Well, you're in a good position here, 2-0, and Braden's on his heels a little, but you sit fastball here. You're looking, where do you want it? Inside, outside, whatever your favorite pitch is, you just sit on it and try to drive it in the gap.
Swung on a missed. He had been out of the strike zone, a little high inside.
That could have been the one he liked, Don. You know how everybody's got a favorite.
Looks good when it's coming in. That high pitch.
You can see it well, right?
2 balls, 1 strike. Down low, 3 balls and a strike. Now remember, this is Braden Cruz's first outing in a game, in an official game this year. Didn't have any practice games, no scrimmages, so very early in the year for him. Down low and outside, ball 4, and the bases are loaded.
Yeah, Braden's rushing just a little bit. They should probably, they need to settle down.
Utterball, Smith, Canner. Now Josh Canner, number 9 hitter this inning. Josh is sophomore.
And they are going to talk. That's good. I mean, Taylor, I could see after that walk, Taylor Blevins started to talk to his infielders, and probably a good idea here to talk to your pitcher to make sure we know what we're doing. We can't afford to make this inning any worse than we have already.
Yep, you're down 5-0 now. So
yeah, you're down, and basically because of execution, really. I mean, if they had executed a little better on the double steal, if they hadn't brought the first baseman in with a lefty up, a couple things that have cost them. They need to get out of this inning if they want to win the game.
Line shot, base hit. That's going to score at least 1. Moving in the left fielder. Here comes the throw to the plate, and he'll hold up. So 1 run scores. Scoring from third base on the play was Utterball. Moving up a base is Smith and Canner, and Josh Canner on at first base with the RBI single.
And not as bad as it could have been, really, because it was hit hard, but right at the left fielder.
Bases remain loaded as they've gone now. Batted around,
and messed up my scorecard.
Yeah, that's what that little arrow means now. So we got to move the 4th inning along.
Somehow I knew you would know exactly how to handle the situation on a scorecard.
It's called being a total scorekeeper nerd. Yeah. Most people don't even keep score anymore. But
no, you see, I stopped right there when it started to get ugly. I just pulled my pen off and started to enjoy the game a little. I could never do that. Could never focus long enough to keep score, or shut up long enough to do it. But you can talk and keep score at the same time, Don.
It's an acquired art. I can talk at any moment. Brady Walker will be coming in to do the pitching now. see what they've done. They've moved several people around. Let's see if we can now decipher who is where. We can say Brady Walker comes in with 2 out here in the top of the 4th inning.
Well, they kept the infield the same. They still got Hops at third, Blevins at short. They didn't adjust the right side. Did they put somebody to the outfield, or did they just swap the pitchers?
It looked like people were moving around, but we're not real sure. It looks like that indeed Braden Cruz has come out of the ball game.
I think Braden just came out, and I think it might be a direct sub.
Brady Walker is coming in.
Still have the re-enter rule, so he could always come back in.
Yeah. Brady Walker, a pitcher infielder. Brady is a, you see, I'm looking on my stats here.
He was the speed-up runner.
He was that, yeah. Appreciate both coaches, both Paul Danielle and Chad Blevins, who sent us all kinds of information, but now I'm trying to sift through it all and see if I have. It looks like Brady has pitched just 1 inning on the year, and no wins, no losses. Gave up 4 hits and 6 earned runs in that 1 inning of play. His ERA is not the kind of ERA you want, 42.00. That's not, it sounds like my ERA back in the day.
Yeah, and I appreciate you giving me the education on how to calculate the ERA earlier. But you don't want to sometimes calculate it, right?
No.
In that situation.
Melvin Bagumsa, the batter.
Yeah, Melvin's up again.
Yep, he led off this inning. He led off with a single to center field. Seems like about an hour ago.
He looks like he wants to be patient. He just shook his head to the coach. They're going to make him throw strikes. Of course, with the bases loaded, you can do that, right? Take a few pitches.
Melvin's been on twice, scored 2 runs. Got on an error. There's a little foul ball. 1-1 the count. We are in the top of the 4th inning. The Cobras have now scored 4 runs here in the top of the 4th to lead it by 6-0. They had 2 runs back in the 2nd. Foul back our way.
You didn't jump again, Don?
I did not. I noticed Kevin, our cameraman, was steady as a rock there.
That's his job.
Yeah.
Pro.
Yeah, he is that.
Hey, yeah. Walker comes in, throws strikes. Give him that.
Up high, ducking
I jinxed
under
him.
the
That's my
plate.
fault. That was on me.
The old announcer jinx. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Bases are jammed.
Looks like he was trying to spin that one. It looked like a curveball that got away from him a little.
Oh, up high, comes all the way to the backstop, and
Have to come.
no, he's not going to come. And that's unusual because it's a long distance from the plate to the backstop here. Usually, if it gets by, you're in.
Yeah.
Good job there by
Cruz.
Parker Smith, who says, "Hey, I didn't get a jump. I'm not going to go," and you get thrown out.
Well, we talked about last game about Keegan and his brother being good fielders, and he was on that quickly, slid, threw it, but was ready to throw, popped right out.
I think that is a courtesy runner there at third base. Swung on, quick foul. It looks like it's number 2. Now let me see if I can find my handy dandy score sheet here. That's Justin Graff, the courtesy runner, speed up runner, who's in for the catcher. Again, in high school baseball, your pitcher and catcher to speed up the game have the option. Down low and outside, ball 4, and the run will score on the walk. So coming in from third base is Graff. Moving up, bases remain loaded. The Cantor brothers on second and third, and now Bagumsa on at first base. That brings up Dominic Ward. Ward got a single last time up. Single up. In fact, it was that bunt single that he got. Last time up, of course, was during this inning. It was going to be a sac bunt, but he beat it out.
Right.
Ward is 1 for 2. Swung on and missed. Grounded out back in the second inning. That was an RBI ground out. Last time up, he got that bunt single. Wiped out on the force play at second base, but he helped in this inning. Oop, behind him, here comes the runner. Going to be no throw at the plate. Again, it is such a long distance once it gets by the catcher, you can almost assume it's going to be a run. Wild pitch. Runners move up to second and third. Tecumseh at second. Josh Canner at third. Run scores on the wild pitch. Down low. Six runs here in this top of the fourth inning. 8-0 the lead for Harford Tech.
Yeah, they've opened it up here.
Well, that's a squibber.
Cool. And it
Stays
stays
fair. Ciano, that ball was like 2 feet foul until it squibbed up, and a good job by Ciano to hang with it and get the unassisted.
Squibber gets him out of the inning.
3 unassisted at first base, but not before 6 runs come across the plate. Scott, you go ahead and talk. I'm going to recalculate this.
Oh, you're going to be going for a while. Well, I'll tell you, I wanted to tell you this all along. Unique experience the other day. I was cleaning out Mom and Dad's house, and I found my first aluminum bat done.
Really?
And I know we were talking before about the days when it switched over, and I remember it being a thrill. Every kid in the rec program wanted an aluminum bat because the majority of what we used at the time was wood, and there was talk of these aluminum bats, but they weren't really available to the public. And sure enough, I found my old original bomb bat, which, in hindsight, I'm not even going to show it to my boys because it's extremely, like, these kids today and the technicalities that they look for in their bats and the particulars, and if they saw that bomb bat, they'd be like, you were excited about what? Because it looks like a hunk of metal out of this backstop in front of us. It's just a whole different world back then.
I was coaching at Aberdeen when we switched over from wooden bats to aluminum bats. We each year would get 36 bats at the beginning of the year. And by mid-season, we were down to 3 or 4.
Right, and that was the big advantage, right?
Yeah.
That the rec councils wanted the aluminum bats because the wood would break.
Yeah. And of course, early in the season, when it was cold, you did not want to hit the ball with a wooden bat if you hit it not squarely.
Sure.
Because it would put 1,000 bees into your hands and feel like you were stinging. So
sure.
Aluminum bat made a big difference. Not that they were cheap; they were obviously much more expensive and still are. What's a bat cost these days? $100 a month?
Hundreds of dollars. These kids are spending hundreds of dollars on these BB Core bats. I've never been a bat connoisseur. Don't get into that. But I will tell you, I saw 2 aluminum bats broken on pitches in my career, which is amazing. And I saw twins do it.
Wow.
2 twins that I played with broke aluminum bats on pitches.
Wow. They must have been defective bats, you think?
I don't know. It's a big coincidence if it were.
Frank Ciano with the bat. Now, Frank is the number 3 hitter in the lineup for Havre Grace, and the Warriors obviously have to get something started. Down 8-0 in the bottom of the 4th.
Yeah,
Frank who flew out to center field to be the final out of the first inning.
This is the part of the lineup that can do it. And, Frank needs to get a little greedy here. Look for something he can drive himself or get on base to start the big inning.
Well, give credit to Wyatt Dudek, young man who came into the game with a 14 ERA. He has been right on the money this time. Remember, he came in with 8 walks. Let's see, has he walked anybody? I don't believe he's got a walk.
I have not recorded a walk. Good for him.
1 strikeout, no walks.
Frank took a big swing at that.
Swung on and missed on the curveball. Ciano coming into the ball game at 2 for 8. Has a double, 2 walks, triple. We saw that triple he hit Friday against Aberdeen.
Right. He's a good hitter. In a hole here, though.
Curveball.
Yeah.
Got him on the curve.
He pulled off both those. And Dudek's on a roll here. How do you pitch with the lead? That's how you pitch with a lead. You just pound the strike zone with your fastball and your curve.
Connor Howes, that's actually the 3rd strikeout of the game for Wyatt Dudek. Wyatt is in the carpentry program at Harford Tech out of Edgewood. Connor Howes, the batter, the cleanup hitter, he fanned back in the 2nd inning. Dudek is just full of strikes right now. 0-1 coming in, 2 starts, 4 2/3 innings, 9 earned runs.
Lanky guy. I mean, he really looks good when he lets the ball go. He's got a lot of whip action.
Hangs up high on the curveball, 1-1.
He's pitching very confidently, as those 8-run leads will will make you.
Yeah, it makes you a little more comfortable out there. Big thing is, though, you don't want to give up walks and give the team a chance to even think they can get off the mat. Swung on.
Right.
Inside corner fastball.
Tied some guys up on the inside, too. I think when you come over the top like that, your ball can cut in on a righty.
Yeah, you hide it quite a bit behind your head the way he's throwing the ball. One out, none on. Bottom of the fourth. Pop foul, backing out of play. Warriors have not yet demonstrated this year that they can hit the ball well. They've won 2 games, but they've been winning on pitching and defense.
That's very true.
The other hand is the Harford Tech Cobras, who are 3-1. They have shown they can hit the ball. Down by 2 runs to Bel Air back earlier this week or last Friday. Came back and won it.
Yeah, you're right. They're different teams. You can physically see it when they come up to plate. But, you know, and Frank Sienna's a really good pitcher. So when he's on the mound, Havre de Grace is going to be a favored team. But it's a team game. You can't pitch every game, so.
Swung on, tip foul, held on 2. Good job there by Parker Smith, and the out is recorded. 2 strikeouts in a row. That's 4 Ks for Mr. Dudek now.
Yep. He's attacking the inning. He's in the middle of the order. You know, if he can get through this inning, he's in really good shape because he'll have the bottom of the order next.
Keegan Cruz, the batter, the catcher. Keegan popped up to the shortstop last time up, his only time up.
I think he's thinking about striking out the side here. Yeah, he was, because he overthrew that pitch. I jinxed him. I jinxed another pitcher.
We were watching a game the other day, Scott, and you'll know how this happened. It was my granddaughter's game, and their pitcher struck out 6 batters in 1 inning.
Really?
Yeah, there's dead silence on the other end.
Yeah, that's interesting.
How, you ask? Did she do that?
How did she do that when there were 3 outs?
Strike
because
3.
They missed the ball.
Catcher missed the ball. Down to first base she went.
And it kept happening.
It kept happening, and so she got all 3 outs by strikeouts and struck out 3 more just for good measure.
So were they all pass balls, or were they
mostly,
wild pitches?
Mostly.
If you strike somebody out on a wild pitch, strike 3.
Yeah, that's something. But
or it's the smart batter that's like.
What happened in this game is their regular catcher was ill or couldn't be there, and so they had a catcher who had never caught before. And I gave that young lady a great deal of credit. I said, hey, you hung in there. There was a strike on the inside corner. So, you know, catching is not the easiest thing if you've ever tried to do it.
Especially with a good pitcher.
Yeah. It is just no fun because that foul tip comes back and it hurts. I don't care how much protection you have.
I heard Greg Maddox's brother say once he didn't even like playing catch with him in the backyard. Because
Close.
Greg Maddox's ball would move so much just playing catch.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can see something. Fast pitch softballs, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
When you have a good pitcher. They dominate. But we got to support Mr. Dudek here. He's going for his next strikeout.
Well, that ball 4.
Yeah.
That looked too close to take on a 3-2 pitch, but
he had 2 pitches there that were really close.
Yeah.
He just, you know, and you don't want to mess around. That's what happens when you're a little too perfect or maybe too high, too low. Now he's got to come right down and get his last strikeout if he wants 3 in the inning.
And Braden Cruz has indeed re-entered the game. He was the pitcher who came out. Walker came in to pitch for him. Have a courtesy speed-up runner coming in for Havre de Grace now. Looks like that's number 6. That's Noah Buchanan.
He not return to the pitchers now, but he will re-enter the game, and then they'll bring in somebody from the field to pitch. So the question will be, you know, do we see Mr. Blevins again? We saw him on Friday night. Will they try to get each guy an inning? You know, maybe build a young pitching staff. We'll have to see what Coach Blevins has in mind.
Up high. Braden Cruz, a senior, batting 111 on the year coming in. Had a double back in the second inning.
Dudek just needs to get his follow through back going again. He's standing up a little too straight. He's got a natural stand-up sling to it, but there we go.
Swung on and missed. 2 hits in the ball game for Havre de Grace. They got 1 in the second, 1 in the third. Their third base runner here is the walk in the 4th inning. Well, our rainbow has disappeared, but we retreated for about an inning. That rainbow right across center field area.
Sure, it's nice.
It was beautiful.
That's my job as the color commentator.
I got it. A rainbow color. I got it. Good job.
Well, you're always into your stats and things. You're not going to see a rainbow. It's my job to point that out.
I'll tell you another story in a moment if we have the moment. There it goes, running. Foul back our way. I did move that time.
That's okay. You were right on it.
Ball was coming right at me. Chuck Marsden, my baseball coach at Edgewood, was my partner before he decided, hey, I've had enough of putting up with Donnie Boy and turned it over to you. Anyhow, we're at Havre Grace and a train goes by. It so enthralled Charles Marsden that he spent an inning talking about some song he was singing, Do-si-do and Mo-si-do, I don't know what it was, talking about trains.
Well, he's your coach. You had to respect him. Dudek got his strikeout.
He did, swung on the mist, and so he does strike out the side with a walk in between. No runs, no hits, no errors. 1 runner left on base. We have played 4 full. It is Harford Tech 8, Havre Grace nothing. Happy to tell you this high school game of the week proudly sponsored by APG FCU. It's a member-owned and member-driven credit union helping families in Harford County achieve, prosper, and grow. We used to call them the Aberdeen Proving Ground Federal Credit Union.
Yep.
It's just too much to say.
Can't get it in
APG
between innings.
FCU.
Right. Well,
I understand. Now, this is a story. I don't know if it's true or not. Remember Peekaboo Street, the great skier?
Yeah, sure.
Peekaboo Street donated money to a hospital for a critical care.
Okay.
And they named it the Peekaboo ICU. That's what they named it.
Okay.
The Peekaboo
makes sense.
ICU.
Catchy. It's catchy.
I made that up. That's not that's not even close to being true.
I could. She should.
Peekaboo ICU. I'm sorry, that amused me.
You got to stop getting Cracker Jack boxes.
Golly. Peekaboo ICU. She was really a great skier. Ski jumper, I think. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that brings me. Are we having the Olympics this summer?
We are, and yeah, postponed from last year. It's going to be in Tokyo.
Right. Okay, it gives me something to look forward to.
Yeah.
I like some of the new events and sports that they have.
We're talking about Jerome Deal, the great Aberdeen sprinter who was on deck to go to the Olympics in 1980.
Yes.
What happened in 1980?
Well, it was the boycott.
It was the boycott. Jimmy Carter boycotted. It was being held in Moscow, the Soviet Union, and was boycotted. Jerome Deal, the great sprinter from Aberdeen.
Chance.
But he did get a gold medal from a congressional gold medal they gave him.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
He deserves it.
Brady Reese now the batter. Brady's been up twice. Inside. It looks like Walker remains on the mound. So we're not sure how Braden Cruz remained in the ball game. Because we can't have 2 batters hitting in the same spot. We'll figure that out.
They might have
for
done a double switch. We'll have to check. I didn't notice an outfielder coming in. The infield's the same. But that's a long way to look out there from here.
Braden must have stayed in the game in one of the outfield positions.
There's not another brother on the team.
No. There's a little pop.
It's
falling fast. Blevins, nice catch. Taylor Blevins. You can see this young man is well coached, and well, he should be since his dad has coached him since he was 5 years old. Good job going back and making that catch.
No trouble tracking that down.
And you mentioned the sun, and I could see the sun glinting off his glasses there as he went back. So 1 out now. That'll bring up the leadoff hitter, C.J. Scandalous, batting for the 4th time in 5 innings. That's when you know your lineup has been doing a job.
Well, did they pinch it?
Looks like they are.
Yeah,
It looks like a number 13 here.
He's announcing himself into the game.
If I had done a better job of organizing my notes, I could tell you right away who this is. It's junior Ben Byers. Talk more about him in just a moment. Swung on. It was Byers who came in to the game against Bel Air and no-hit them for the last 4 innings of the ball game this past Friday, 3 days ago, as we're doing this game on a Monday, who allowed Harford Tech to win that game.
Well, he's a pitcher and a hitter.
So Byers now pitch hitting for Scandalous. Scandalous, who was 0 for 3, flew out twice and grounded out. Down low. Sun brightly out now here at the Havre de Grace on Warrior Field, the brand new Warrior Field, the Havre de Grace Middle High School right behind us. Brand new, beautiful, beautiful field. Ground ball third base, running foul. Jim Reynolds is the principal here. I call him Jimmy Reynolds, and all the folks who hear that, they just have such a great, because Jimmy and my son, Darren, played ball together back in the day. I don't want to say how long ago that was. Darren's now 53. That'll give you some idea how old Jim Reynolds is. I guess you don't get called Jimmy when you're 53 and you're a principal. Fly ball center field, Ignazi.
Right on.
Battling the sun.
Problem with the sun there.
2 out, nobody on. We'll bring up Connor Henderson. But Jim's done a great job here at Havre de Grace. He lives in the community. That's the great thing, Scott, as a resident. It's just people, you live here, they love the community. Generations of people are born here and, continue.
And they love baseball. They've always supported Little League. And
a hot spot for the old Susky League.
Yeah, it certainly was.
Connor Henderson at the bat. Fly ball, left field, and hit.
That.
Moving back on it is Connor Howe.
It's going to be out of here.
Is it gone? It is out of here. Connor Howe. I finally get a chance to do my home run call, and I miss it. A home run for Connor Howe over the 328-foot area. Howe knocks it out by a good distance. Home run for Connor Henderson over left fielder Connor Howe. Great job, Connor Henderson. For Henderson, he had a double, a triple, and now he's got a home run.
That was driven. Very, very well done.
Touch 'em all, Connor Henderson. 9-0 now.
And you got to do it on TV, too. You'll play that over and over. And keep that one on your phone for a while.
He hit that ball. It just kept carrying. Howes went back, gave it a look, but it was gone.
Could have been the first official home run ever on this field, right?
I'll talk about that in just a minute. Austin Utterball. Line shot into right field. Coming on the right fielder.
Oh, nice jump.
Just under his glove.
He's going to have a play at second.
Josh Rathburn throws to second.
We're going to have an interesting call here.
He is out at second base.
Yeah, I don't know. Hang on a sec.
But they're trying to say that there was interference at first base, but the umpires aren't buying it.
Well,
he's out on the single. Throw from right fielder Rathburn into shortstop.
Probably not a
Taylor Blevins.
Yeah.
So 9-6 for the out. The ball was there. What do you think, Scott? Do you think it was?
Well, Frank's, the first baseman kind of got himself in a position where you don't want to be, and the runner did. It looked like there was contact from here, and the rules are pretty clear.
Austin Utterball is not moving from second base, and now
maybe he missed him, but even if you have to change your gait, if the umpire thinks that you were in the way, they're going to make the call. But again, we're in a situation where we're moving to the later innings, and the score's different. Then maybe a close game would have an influence, or maybe the umpires didn't see it.
Yeah.
In any case, the right fielder got a really good jump on that. That was
Rathburn.
Josh Rathburn.
Yep.
And he got a very good jump. It just didn't quite make the play. It's a sinking line drive, and those are hard. A righty, that's a really tough play because it's flailing away from you. But when a lefty hits it to you in right field and it's dying quail like that, it's usually off the hands or off the end, and it just makes for a weird cue shot kind of play. But he jumped on it quick and made a nice throw to second.
For the out recorded there, two hits in the inning. The home run by Connor Henderson. When you're right, Connor Henderson smoked that ball. It just kept going and going and going. One of those high arching home runs.
Right. Yeah, he crushed it. So is it the first? Did you have any data on it?
They were telling me, Coach Blevins was that a JV kid hit a home run. I wish I knew his name, and I probably should. I'll try to get it for you. In the game that we did at Aberdeen while Havre de Grace JV was playing here, a JV ninth grader hit it over the right center field fence just this past Friday. So that would be the first official varsity home run hit on this field.
Sure. Yeah, okay.
Can you imagine a ninth grader hitting the ball, like it's 328, 330 feet in that right center field power alley.
Havre de Grace takes their Little League seriously. Those guys come right out of Little League cranked up and ready to hit. So, yeah, it looks like, what was the dimension out there? You'd given them to me before
the game. Yeah, it's 300 down the line.
So it's legit.
About 328 into the power alley. So you figure that Henderson's ball was probably hit about 335, 340.
Well, Mr. Dudek, we're going to go back and talk about him. He's working his way towards a complete game here if he can keep himself rolling.
Yeah, he hasn't thrown a whole lot of pitches, so he should be under that pitch limit. Coming up now for Havre de Grace in the bottom of the 5th inning, they'll send up Logan Forsythe. Hits a ground ball to shortstop, the throw on the run, and he's safe at first base. Harper Tech doesn't believe it, but Forsythe on a good hustling play beats the throw from Connor Henderson.
Well, the umpire was right on that, and I could kind of see him thinking about it as the play was happening. And Josh Cantor just looks like when he lurched for the ball, he pulled himself off the bag. That was a heck of a running play by shortstop Connor Henderson. Why not? You hit a home run, you're going to show some leather off too, right?
That'll bring up the number 8 hitter in the lineup, Josh Rathburn. Now here's number 23. This is where Walker is now in the ball game. So I'm not sure if that was Walker who made that play. We didn't see his number, but Walker is now playing in place of Josh Rathburn. So
okay, so he came in for Rathburn, but they might have moved.
Yeah, Walker came in to pitch.
Right, he came in, so they did a double change, and that's how.
That's how Cruz stayed in the ball game.
And that might have been Cruz in right field.
It may have been. Eyes aren't quite good enough to see that far.
No, or the numbers even. I mean, where the small numbers on the front of the jersey. My eyes, that's one thing I noticed when I was coaching. It's not, your eyes aren't the same in the 50s as the 20s. You just cannot see that ball.
We gotta get to the 70s.
I can only imagine. I'm not going to complain, but I started allowing bullpen catchers to do the catching.
We're going to an eye doctor when I was about 50-something, and he said, "Have you missed many road signs recently?" I said, "Yeah, I've missed a few." He said, "Well, good, because you can't see a thing. You're blind as a bat." Ground ball up the third baseline, foul. Cut off by Joey Cantor.
Joey did a good job to get to that. It was right on the line.
Talk about Henderson again. He came in on that ball, and we talked about the grass being very slow. We're talking about the hit that Forsythe just got. He did everything he could. Made the play, picked it up, sort of circled the ball, made it on the run. It was a very, very bang play at first base.
He likes to throw on the run. He's done it a couple times. He does it well. Just on the grass here, you've got to explode forward because even making plays on the run is tough when you got thick grass.
Yeah. We talked about Cal Ripken and his great arm that he had at the shortstop and how he revolutionized as a 6'4.5" guy could play shortstop.
Well, thanks to Earl.
There's the bulk. Yeah, Cal tells that story about Earl gave him no advance notice at all. Just one day he said he noticed that number 6 was next to his name, meaning the shortstop.
Oh, really?
And he went to Earl and said, "Skip, is there a problem? Or did you?" "No, just play shortstop. Just make the play. Don't do anything stupid."
Good advice.
That was the way Earl conditioned Cal Ripken to play shortstop.
That's the advice I heard a lot in my career. I still hear it. We use it around the bank. Just make the play.
Make the play. Don't screw
it up. But, Earl, visionary or just madman, you have to give him credit because Cal was an excellent shortstop. But there were certain protocol that a lot of coaches would just follow. And one of them was a tall guy can't play
shortstop, especially a guy 230 pounds.
Right, he's a big guy, right? He's power forward. He doesn't play shortstop. So
Ryan Hops, the batter. Ryan flew out into center field back in the third inning. Yeah, that's what I mean about Cal revolutionized the position. Not a fast man. He would tell you he's not fast, but Cal had great instincts. It seemed like he knew where the ball was going before the batter hit it. Just by looking at the angle of the bat and figuring out what pitch is coming and tendencies, he would be on the move heading toward the ball.
Sure. Yeah.
He had that great arm, so he could make up a lot of difference in being able to throw people out that you said, well, there's no chance in the world he's going to throw him out.
He had that internal clock. He knew how to get rid of the ball, and he kind of trained himself to play shortstop. He did revolutionize it because now there's a lot of big guys playing short.
Yeah. Jeter, of course, the most recent, who played shortstop directly after Cal. And, would Jeter have been a shortstop without Calvin? Maybe not. Maybe they would have moved him somewhere.
He wouldn't have been as good because Cal's an Oriole and Jeter's a Yankee.
Hello. Good job. Good stop there by Parker Smith. Throws down to second base. That's probably a mistake. You don't want to do that once you have him picked off. So he does get to third base.
Got a big run, and he was, I think, willing to do it.
We hear, probably heard on your field, Mike, that Paul Danielle, the Harford Tech coach, says, hey, we're up 9-0.
Right. Let's just get the out of first. And so let's see what Hops does. He's a senior. This is the last time we'll get to broadcast him. He had the big run the other night, so let's see how he does swinging the bat.
Taking the strike.
So taking towards the end of the game, I guess. I'm going to take a few pitches.
Boy, Wyatt Dudek, again, who has walked one batter tonight, came in having walked 8 in 4 2/3. That has been his big problem.
Yeah, it could have been a wet game. Who knows?
On the outside corner. And Wyatt sort of gives, hey, of course that was a strike.
Well, you just got to pound the zone now. Get yourself into a groove and pound it. As Jim Palmer said, learn how to pitch ahead, right? If you give up a line shot here, it's not going to hurt you.
Palmer, who never gave up a Grand Slam home run in 19 years of pitching.
But he did give up a lot of home runs when he had the lead. And he would always say, you know, I pitch differently. If I have the lead, I am going to challenge you.
But think about that, pitching all those years and never giving up a Grand Slam. I don't think Jim Palmer was appreciated enough when he was pitching because he was swung on and missed.
Pitch.
I'm trying to think of the right word. I don't mean it to be negative, but he had an ego, Jim did. And, you know, a lot of folks didn't particularly like his superior lean, if you will. His favorite trick was when Earl would come out to the mound, he would stand on top of the rubber. Earl was about 5'7", Palmer about 6'3", and he would look down at Earl. He told Earl, hey, Earl, the only thing you know about pitching is that you couldn't hit it. Get back to the dugout, which was Palmer's attitude.
I'm sure Earl had something to say.
Pop up right over the mound, or the backstop, I should say. Catcher, obviously you teach a catcher to turn around and face the backstop. A great job by Parker Smith to go out and catch that ball in fair territory. He says, turn around, smirn around. I'll catch it the way I want to.
No, he's not the guy from Edgewood, is he?
Parker Smith is from Seamilton, right?
He's from Seamilton, right? Yeah.
Yep.
He had it. Sometimes, though, if he had spun around, he's got the son to deal with, so maybe he knows more than we do.
I agree. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 runner left on base. We're still having a shutout after 5 full innings of play. It is 9-0, the Harford Tech Cobras, and we're a little bit in danger of that 10-run slaughter rule.
Right.
If Harford Tech can score another run or two, and we played 5 innings, so the game could end in that mercy rule, whatever you want to call it. This high school game of the week proudly sponsored by APG-FCU, the member-owned, member-driven credit union, helping families in Harford County achieve, prosper, and grow. Looks like we have a new pitcher on the mound, and you can tell that because he's throwing with the other arm.
Yeah, he spun around. He's throwing left-handed now. So, but that's, Havre Grace is at the point they're down by a lot of runs. You might as well see what other pitchers can do. See if they can spark your team or be used later in the year.
I'm looking for number 14 on my program, and I don't have a number 14. Let me see if I've overlooked it. I don't see a number 14, so I can't tell you who that
Do they maybe have
be.
Different numbers home and away, maybe?
I think so, but let me see if I've got another sheet here that might tell me.
It's right up from the minor leagues. Just got a number.
Barry Janney, who was the sheriff of Cecil County for many years, pitching in the Susquehanna League, pitching right-handed. This is 30 years ago or more. And one day he's not doing very well, and he yells an expletive. This, by the way, is Mitt Patel, number 14 in the ball game. Okay. So anyhow, he says, throw me out my other glove. And they threw him out a right-handed glove, in other words, a glove to put on his right hand, and he started throwing left-handed. The other team was so dumbfounded that this guy who's pitching right-handed now is pitching left-handed that, he struck him out and the inning was over. Got signed by the Phillies and got as high as A-ball. Went down to see him play one day. I think it was Johnson City he was playing for, and he had number 20 wearing it as a third baseman. It was Mike Smith's old uniform.
Oh, boy.
He showed it to me, turned around, and inside was the name Mike Smith, wearing number 20.
Wow, that's a keeper.
Yeah. Barry Janney, a great ball player, and sheriff in Cecil County probably for 25 years. Gives me a little bit of a pain to know that he's been long since retired. Meaning that the kid I saw play is now.
Sure, yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
Well, it's rare to see guys that can pitch with both hands.
Was it Gross, the pitcher in the major leagues? You can't change gloves, and he has a reversible glove.
They've had to make the rule. They've had to exercise that before. I don't know who would have been the last guy that could do it.
I'm not sure that he ever pitched in the major leagues, but he threatened to. He had the glove that, again, he could just switch the hands and be able to pitch with it. So Harford Tech Cobras, again, if they can score a run here, the game will be over. So that's the 10-run rule. It'll
be over after Havre Grace hits, right?
Well, no, they've already hit. Yeah, that's right. They have to hit in the 5th inning. This looks like number 8, which is a different number than I have for Harford Tech. So let's see who this might be.
We've reached that point of the game where there's a lot of changes here. Patel leads off with a strike, so lefty, his ball's tailing away a little bit.
This is Sean Hooper, who's now batting in place of Parker Smith.
Two quick strikes.
Mit Patel. Third pitcher for Havre Grace today. Braden Cruz started. Walker came in and replaced him. And now, as we get into the 6th inning, we see Mit Patel.
That was a curveball outside. He was trying to backdoor it. Just got it a little low. It's not a bad 0-2 pitch.
Sean Hooper, the batter. Just a bit outside. Sean's a senior out of Bel Air. He's in the electricity program. Committed to CCBC in Dundalk. He's going to play baseball next year and major in mass communications. There goes my job.
Yeah.
Gee.
Maybe he can take over for us one day.
Yeah, maybe 5 years from now? What do you think, 10? Guys in the booth said, next year.
Yeah, right. We don't even know anything about aluminum bats or any of the kids are see a whole different game. They watch a lot of them on the phone and just track the stat.
Right on it, just tip foul. But I bet the new guy doesn't know about the peekaboo ICU. I bet they don't know that.
No.
No.
Nobody knew that until you. There's only one joke in a Cracker Jack box, and you got that one.
Outside, there 4. That left-hander, they always say about left-handers is they can't throw the ball straight even if they try.
Well, that's true. And I've seen some of the nastiest pitches coming from left-handers.
Which is why people say, well, why don't you see left-handed catchers? Well, if you try to throw the ball to second base, as a left-hander, you'll probably throw a slider or a screwball. Brings up Joey Canner. Joey, the twin brother of Josh Canner. Joey has, let's see, he's walked, grounded out. Scored a run. In fact, he's walked twice now that I look at my score sheet.
Patel does have good action on the ball. He needs to get that front side engaged a little. He's got to, when he reaches that glove hand towards the plate, if he can get that, your backhand will follow the glove hand. If you can get the glove hand a little more dynamic in the pitch, he'll improve. What year is he?
I put my score sheet away.
That's why I'm challenging you. Gotta keep you on your toes. But lefties have got to be worth something in Harford County baseball. There's not many of them.
No.
And you think about it, even in the college ranks, you have 1 or 2 a squad. I mean, it's not really a commodity that you see in the college ranks. So,
I was coaching high school baseball in Aberdeen. I had lunch duty. That's what they did to history teachers. They gave them lunch duty. I would go around and watch the kids eating their peas.
And look for left-handed.
Yeah, if they were eating left-handed, I would say, you ever consider pitching?
There you go.
Yeah. I'd even ask the girls. It didn't matter. If you're left-handed, if you're breathing, you're alive. What was it, Jesse or Lasco? who pitched until he was like 50.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's different. And high school batters do have trouble with lefties.
Absolutely, because you don't see many.
You don't see many. The ball's moving differently. It's just enough to throw off an immature hitter that's just not patient. And Patel's got good movement. He just needs to really follow through here, get his front side engaged, and battle back here. 2 runners on.
2 walks.
Havre Grace is going to talk about it for a second, get him calmed down.
Bring up Josh Canner now. Yeah, check his number.
You also don't want to fall asleep. And I thought, yeah, they did 24.
24, it's a new player. Let's find out who that is.
Havre Grace doesn't want to fall asleep on the infield here. If you do throw a strike, get a ground ball, we got to turn 2 and get out of the inning if you want to prolong the game.
This is junior Zach Reeves at the bat. Curveball. Mitt Patel just really plate moving around on him. New, difficult coming in without probably having warmed up a lot. Ground ball back to the pitcher. Stabbed the throw to first base, and again had Mitt been thinking a bit more as you try to tell players, if it's hit to me, what do I do? He had a force out either at third or second, but he goes to first to get the out.
Just wanted to get the first out on the board, I think.
So the out is recorded. Reeves out from pitcher to first base. Outside. Also, I think this is a courtesy runner that we've seen before. Number 2, yeah, this is Justin Graff. Justin out of the Seamilk Wright District Sports Medicine Exercise Science Program. He's a junior, is Justin Graff. So Graff batting for Bagumsa. Paul Danielle clearing his bench, getting all of his players in with a 9-0 lead.
And you're doing a good job trying to give everybody their time here. Has us check and see.
Hello. Tech bench just into the ball game. Of course, they're they're rooting for their teammates.
Right, and this is a inning, like you might not get to see some of these guys hit all the time in the starting lineup, so they're supporting everybody, which is good to do on the team in general.
Yeah, thank you, Scott, for passing along. Would you mind letting the folks know? We were told by Paul Danielle that this game is special more than just a high school game.
Sure, yeah, we'll definitely do that in between innings because it's important. Yeah, he's his ball does kind of come back too. Everything he throws, you can't give up on as a hitter, especially if he's throwing his curveball, because it'll bend over at the last second and cut the corner of the plate. That's another thing we're talking about with lefties. You're not used to seeing that curveball as a right-handed hitter, and there, he's right on that corner. Kind of makes a living there.
Ball 4. So Graff walks to load the bases.
Yep, that'll bring up Dominic Ward.
Dominic, the number 8 hitter in the lineup. Dominic, let's see, he's got a bunt single last time up, an RBI ground out. He also went out to the first baseman unassisted. He's 1 for 3 officially on the game.
While you just mentioned, and Coach Blevins is going out to have a talk right now with his pitcher, but you did mention how Harford Tech's up and into every pitch and supporting all their players, and we were told that at some point in the telecast we wanted to mention that the Harford Tech baseball family lost a valuable member this past week when Justin Klingerhofer, a 2016 graduate, passed away due to cancer on April 6th, 2021. And the team is dedicating the season to Justin, and they're planning a special ceremony for him, his family, and the former players later in the season. He was also a Marine, served our country, and anyone wishing to honor him can donate to either of the following: the Wounded Warrior Project or the St. Baldrick's Foundation. So we wanted to do that on behalf of the coaching staff and the players of Harford Tech. Very important. I do remember that player, so that's an outstanding loss.
Scott, great job on your part. Thank you for reminding us that, letting us know that, yeah, it's fun and games, but life sometimes intervenes, and a young man who served his country and, was a valuable member of the Tech program.
Sure.
Passed much before his time.
Sure. I remember him playing Little League Baseball. So, yeah, it's precious. Time on the diamond's precious.
So we're going to miss Dominic Ward out of Joppatown in the CAM program. 167 coming in. As we said, he's got an RBI at a bunt single today, 1 for 3.
And the infield came in because they are trying to prolong this game. So if it's hit slow on the ground, they've got, oh boy, this one's going to get by the catcher.
And that'll score a run. That is the 10th run of the game. Again, it is 5 innings if the home team has batted 5 times. I should say the team that's trailing has batted 5 times. The other team is leading by at least 10 runs. The game is called. And the mercy rule, slaughter rule, whatever you want to call it.
Right. So that's an important run to prolong the game. If you're Havre de Grace, you're trying to score at least 1 to keep it going next inning, and that's why the infield will stay in and try to cut off any more runs at the plate.
10-0 is the score. Pop up right in the middle of the infield.
That's a tough play for an infielder when you've come in.
Blevins, left fielder, and it falls for the base hit. Boy, that ball was perfectly placed, and the run will score on a nice diving slide by Joey Canner.
Well, I've been there as a shortstop, second baseman. I've been right where Taylor Blevins is. You come in, your team's behind, you come in on the grass, and then somebody hits a Texas League blooper, and you got to go back. And normally positioned, he'd make that play.
Yeah.
But when you're in, everything changes. Not only is it a farther run to get to the ball, but it's also, you don't practice that.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times do you go back on the ball from the infield grass? So everything's different. The players are out of sorts, and the ball falls through. So unfortunately, that's going to knock Patel out of the game. They're going to come in with another pitcher, and but now's the time to stretch your staff, see who can do what, and try to get more guys in the game.
Looks like it's Logan Forsythe will be coming in. Logan, who let's see, Logan is the DH, had been the DH.
Right, he was
now
tied.
will come in as the pitcher.
Right, so he'll probably come into that position.
Mm-hmm.
But Patel will leave the game since he had come in for, was it Rathburn?
Yeah, Rathburn, yeah.
Right.
So we are in the top of the 6th inning. It's 10-0, the lead for Harford Tech. Actually 11-0, I guess. See, 7, 8, 9. Yes, 11-0. So again, the game continues. If Havre de Grace, when they come up, if let's say they can hold them here, Havre de Grace could score. They now have to score at least 2 runs to keep the game going.
Mm-hmm.
I like the rule. I think when you're up by 10-0, the chances of you coming back are pretty slim, and you don't want to humiliate or embarrass the other team.
Sure, and it speeds things up. I mean, you only have so much time, and these guys have to get home, and it's. The other thing is they play a lot of tournament ball too, and in tournaments you could never even finish a tournament if every game went a different time, so they kind of set them on time restrictions and run restrictions.
Boy, for the Cobras, they have to feel good about themselves. They come in here to play Havre de Grace, and they had beaten Bel Air in a come-from-behind win, a stirring come-from-behind win, and now, for all intents and purposes, they're going to win today. They're going to go to 4-1 on the year.
Yeah, and that's an impressive record. So you come in, and we kind of had a sense that might happen. You could kind of tell by the way the teams were lining up to play, they thought it might happen. But Harford Tech's got to take care of business. You don't want to run in. Havre de Grace just won Friday night, so they're not a team that you can take lightly. But at the same time, they're playing on their new diamond. So, if you let them get a couple runs and they hang around, they knock Dudek out of the game, you get into your bullpen, anything can happen. But we didn't see that from Harford Tech. They're very well coached, and they did take control of this game. They came out swinging. We talked about how aggressive they were right away. Mm-hmm. Well, that was by design, most likely, and they took control of the game, did what they had to do, get their 10 runs. It's something you talk about as a team. Let's put it on these guys and put them down. Let's not let them hang around.
We can give credit to Wyatt Dudek. This young man, junior, came in having had 2 starts, 4 2/3 inning, giving up 5 hits and 8 walks for a total of 9 earned runs, a 1,400 ERA. He's come in and done nothing but throw strikes and keep Havre de Grace off balance, taking advantage of the Warriors, who have not had a great hitting performance so far this year, but he didn't give them a chance to get off the mat.
Right. It all starts with pitching, because your hitters aren't going to be able to get back to the bat rack if you're taking every, letting runners come in, go into 3-2 counts. You have to, as a pitcher, get your team back up at the bat. And that's what he did well. None of these innings were prolonged. He got them right back in the dugout and back up to bat, and they took care of the rest. So, yeah, he's kind of their player of the game right now, that's for sure.
And, Scott, I think I've mentioned it's getting cold out here. The sun has disappeared, and, the chill has ensued.
That time of the year, the sun makes a 10-degree difference when it pops in and out of the clouds.
But we have a rainbow here today.
Yeah, special day for Havre Grace's new field.
Brady Reese now the batter, the number 9 hitter in the lineup.
He's hitting line drives today, but that
Caught.
can work.
Blevins, second base, out, double play. Great play by Taylor Blevins. He makes the catch and turns and throws to second base and gets the double play, and that will keep this game at 11-0. Give Havre Grace a chance to score 2 runs to try to keep the game going. What a play.
You feel sorry for Mr. Reese there. He hit a line drive, but then on the other end of it, that's one of the only ways you're going to get double play on this field at its current stage is to have a line drive double play because it's a slow infield. But they didn't get one earlier in the game. They got it now, and they're going to get a chance to score a run or two.
So 2 runs scored there in that top of the 6th inning. 2 runs, let's see, they had 3 walks. They did give 1 hit in the inning. So 2 runs, a hit, no errors, and 1 runner left on base. We have now played 5 1/2. The score 11-0. Harford Tech Cobras leading. And again, the slaughter rule, mercy rule, what do they call it these days, Scott?
Any of those will
Any of the
work.
above.
Yeah.
The game would end if Havre Grace can't score at least 2 runs to keep the deficit less than 10 after 5 innings. Ooh, Paul Danielle is coming out, and his pitcher says, "Coach,
Don't want to hit
take
a
this."
coach. Yeah, it's not a way to get playing time right there.
Looks like a new pitcher in for Harford Tech, and we may be talking about that pitch count. So Dudek will be out.
Right, he had a good game. He completed what he had to do, and they will bring in the next pitcher.
Looks like Summers is this young man's name.
He's got good action on this ball. It's not a bad idea when you come in right from the bullpen to throw the first ball to the screen, kind of get the attention of the other team, let them know that you're a little wild.
Gage Summers in the landscaping program, committed to play baseball at Central Pennsylvania, major in criminal justice. Gage Summers. Ryan Duran, the old Yankee pitcher, and again, only old-timers like me would remember him, had these thick, like, Coke bottle glasses. And he would come in and he would peer in. He's a relief pitcher. He would peer in like he couldn't see. He would take his glasses off, clean them. And his first warm-up would be against the backstop.
Always, yeah, why not?
So the batters would come in, and you think you're taking a toe hold against
No, you don't want
Ryan
to dig
Duran?
in. Don't dig in.
Yeah.
That's the catcher would probably whisper that too. Don't dig in.
Clint Courtney, the old Oriole catcher, they called him Scrap Iron, also had glasses. First catcher in Major League history to catch with glasses on.
That's not easy to do. There's a lot of crime. I played a little bit with glasses, and it drove me crazy.
The other thing that
not
you
easy.
don't know about Clint Courtney is
I don't
hit
know
the
anything about
first
Clint.
home run in the history of Memorial Stadium.
Really?
Yep, 1954. I was there.
Where you at?
I lied. I wasn't there.
Oh, oh.
I'm sure I listened to it on the radio.
Could have been.
Yes, I would have been a mere child. Okay, 10 years old, but who's counting? Well, here we are with the Warriors trying to stay alive. They are sending up, it looks like maybe a pinch hitter.
They
in
are
their
pinch hitting
case.
number 12.
There's a pop-up. Shortstop moving on it. That's Henderson. Henderson will make the catch. Let's see, that was number 12.
Number 12 here.
Didn't give me a chance to look up his name. I was too busy telling my Clint Courtney story. That was Chase Hunt who had the pinch hit pop up.
He got his hack. Now they'll bring up Frank Ciano.
Yep, Frank Ciano, the number 3 hitter in the lineup, 0 for 2 on the
He
day.
needs a hit here. You got to keep that big batting average going.
Came in at 250. Flew out to center field and struck out last time up.
They know he's a hitter, so starting off with a curveball is not a bad idea.
Impressed
Got him
with
pulling
Cade
out.
Summers. He's throwing strikes and has something on the ball.
He looks good. He's very compact motion. Got a nice little breaker. I'd throw it again right here. Like the way he peers over that glove.
Line shot into center field.
fastball.
Moving, diving, it gets by him. That ball is in there for extra bases. Dominic Ward made a great effort at it. Coming to second and holding up there. That ball was smoked.
You know, Frank got his fastball that he wanted to see. And he did something with it, but
Reminds you of that line drive we saw him hit against Aberdeen
yeah, he
on
can smoke
Friday.
it. He can smoke it. You got throwing curveballs. He can smoke that fastball.
Fourth hit of the game for Havre Grace.
Well, they got a run
no
on.
runs
Now
and
they
4
need
hits.
to bump it around. They need a little trading places action here. Another double. Knock one in, so they're in position for the next. We got another pinch hitter here, number 13.
We do, number 13. And that's Zephin Madison at the bat. Zephin batting for Connor Howes.
Well, that's a good baseball name. I think he's going to swing it here. We need a base hit to keep the game going. Harford Tech's playing deep, of course, in the infield, looking to get the second out of the inning.
Fastball just off the corner. Gage Summers came in here to pitch in the 6th inning.
He's a good workhorse here. They, you know, Harford Tech's an impressive team. If they have some deep pitching, they might be the team to watch in the county.
Yeah, you're right. That win against Bel Air, you go back to a season and you say, where did our season turn around? When you're trailing 8-6 in the last inning, you score 2 runs, 3 runs, and win the ball game, 9-8. Sure. You've done something. So the strikeout by pinch hitter Madison.
And you got your next pinch hitter now, number 27.
Yep, and that is not on my roster.
They're going to make you work for it. You got to go to that other
They
roster.
are the sub roster. Still haven't found it. Apologize to the batter. We have about 2 different rosters here, 3 actually. Obviously, you'll be on the 3rd one, I'm sure. 2 out now. Warriors down to their last out unless they can score 2 runs. Up high.
Well, this is an impressive win for Tech, and maybe something they can carry forward in the rest of the season, because you know they have shown good pitching, good fielding, and good hitting. Pretty solid team. They're a big team too.
Big in size, you mean, each of the players?
Their
Yeah.
stature.
Yeah.
You know, they bring out a pitcher that looks like he was born to be a pitcher. You know, he's lanky, throws the ball hard. They got some stocky guys at the plate. They got some speed. They've kind of shown us just about everything. The shortstop charges through the ball and has a little flair and a little pop. So yeah, they'll be our preseason or early season team to watch, right?
Yeah, no question
See
about
what
it.
Patterson Mill has to say about that, and Coach Roseland and some of the other teams. But
North Harford, C. Milton Wright, they're all, of course, battling each year. Swung on and missed, and that is your ball game, I believe, unless they've come up with a new rule that I'm not aware of. That final score would be 11-0. And I'm sorry, I did not find who number 27 was. Maybe somebody can tell us a little bit later. I don't have him on my roster. So that final strikeout is recorded. Gage Summers comes off the bench and pitches a 1-hit ball there in the 6th inning. No runs, a hit, no errors, 1 runner left on. So the final is 11-0. Looks like Havre Grace has a total of 4 hits, no runs on 4 hits. For Harford Tech, they have 3, 8, 9, 10, 11. So they get 11 runs on 11 hits. The home run by Connor Henderson, that's the big blow of the ball game. Harford Tech scoring 2 in the 2nd. Then they scored 6 in the 4th, 1 in the 5th, and 2 in the 6th to build that final 11-0 winning score. Scott Elliott, any thoughts on the game?
well, it's all, you know, as we said the other night on Friday, it's good to be out here playing baseball again, and the teams, they did a great job. They just did in the era of social distancing, they tipped their hats instead of having the after game, you know, handshake. But you know, as they kind of walk off the field, you're thinking, look, Havre de Grace is on their way. They had a good game on Friday night. They got their new field, so things are looking up. And you know, Coach Blevins is a good coach. Harford Tech kind of had a full-bodied approach. I mean, they really did everything. You know, from what I could tell, they have a well-rounded team. So we'll see how they stack up against the better teams that perennially, like Patterson Mills, Sea Mountain Wright, North Harford. They've already beaten Bel Air, so we'll have an exciting season here, Don. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. They're now 4-1. Havre de Grace falls to 2-3. This high school game of the week proudly sponsored by APG-FCU, member-owned, member-driven credit union helping families in Harford County achieve, prosper, and grow. And Scott, again, you mentioned that this game dedicated the whole season dedicated
Justin Klingenhofer.
to Justin Klingenhofer, and we do add our condolences to the family and also
his family,
the whole team in terms of dedicating the season to them. Hope you've enjoyed it. For my partner Scott Elliott, I'm Don Morrison. Our final score from Havre de Grace, it's the Harford Tech Cobras winning by a final score of 11-0.